What did you say to Adam? I told Adam. What did you say to Adam? I told Adam everything.
This is a clip taken moments before the disaster. Two unfortunate murder victims discuss an Adam before their lives are taken. Just who is he? Could he be their murderer? There is a lot to unpack and a lot to unravel with this case, especially because the murderer is not known and could still be on the loose. But in this video, we will take a look at just what has been happening in the innocent town of Idaho and what everything could possibly mean. Without further ado, let's begin. A newly released surveillance video purports to show killed University of Idaho students Kaylee Goncalves and Maddie Mogen walking with a man in downtown Moscow hours before the triple stabbing in a rental property steps away from campus on November 13th. The women appear to be dressed in the same attire as Goncalves and Mogen, who were seen on film outside a nearby food truck the same evening. The man walking with them is likewise dressed in clothing similar to those of a man observed at the food truck who, according to police, is not a suspect. What did you say to Adam? Maddie. A woman asks as the group goes beneath an outdoor surveillance camera. Like, I told Adam everything, the second woman replies. Could they be talking about the very man that would go on to murder them? Possibly, but to understand the tale so far, we must go back to provide context. Idaho authorities have remained tight-lipped about the odd circumstances surrounding the violent murders of 4 University of Idaho students 3 weeks ago. Officials have stated that they do not have any suspects or a murder weapon and have warned the 25,000-person town to remain vigilant. The fatalities were identified as Ethan Chapin, 20, of Conway, Washington; Madison Mogen, 21, of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho; Zana Kernuttle, 20, of Avondale, Arizona; and Kaylee Goncalves, 21, of Rathdrum, Idaho. They were found stabbed to death on November 13th. Mogen, Kernuttle, and Goncalves shared a 6-bedroom house off campus at 1122 King Road, close to Fraternity Row, with 2 other students. Kernuttle's girlfriend Chapin was spending the night. What is known about the events leading up to and following the killings is as follows. Goncalves shared a bright photo of himself and 4 buddies on Instagram at 8:57 p.m. on the 12th of November that appeared to have been taken on a porch. One lucky girl to be surrounded by these people every day, she captioned the photo. According to investigators, Chapin and Kernuttle attended a party together at the Sigma Chi house on campus while Mogen and Goncalves stayed out at the downtown pub Corner Club. On the 13th of November, Mogen and Goncalves were seen on tape near a food truck at 1:41 a.m. in a clip shared to Twitch, an internet live streaming platform. According to police and family, Chapin and Kernuttle returned home around 1:45 a.m., while Mogen and Goncalves arrived at 1:57 a.m. after using a sorority-authorized driving service.
Just talk to me about, in general terms, about, you don't know exactly that it was a K-bar knife, you know, is maybe a generic type of knife?
We're looking for a fixed blade knife, and those are, you can buy one of those at just about any department store around here, any sporting goods store. They're very common, so we are looking for a fixed blade knife.
And like I know you had showed that picture too. I mean, so this is like, especially people around in an area like this where people fish and hunt and things like that, it wouldn't be odd for people to be carrying around a knife like that.
No, it would not.
When was their last, I guess, more like some activity at home with the investigators? Like, when was the last time you were in the home that people saw?
Investigators, I think, are still going in there periodically, but tomorrow myself and a team of my command staff will be going in there to gather personal items for individuals that were involved in this and for the families. It's time for us to get some of those articles back to them. I think that's important. You know, I'm a dad. I would want some of that stuff back. Those things mean things to those families, and as soon as we can get the stuff back that's not tied to anything with the investigation, we need to do that.
I mean, is that going to be a lot to go? I would think a lot to go back into the house. I mean, have you been in there since that first 9 days?
But it's part of what we do, and we need to do that for the family. We need to go in and pack up stuff and get it, and we'll take it to a secure place so they can come and get that stuff. And is it easy? No, but they need that, and it's our job to do that for them, and it's our job to help with their closure, hopefully. So we're going to go in tomorrow and possibly Thursday and pack up their belongings. Those things are very important to the family, the belongings that mean something, and it's our job to do that. It's still a scene that we have security on, and we're going to do that for the families and continue through these different processes that we have to do in this investigation, but that's one of those things that I think it will hopefully help the family some, and we'll secure those items and we'll put them where that family can get them when they're ready.
Did the family, I know they had been saying they wanted to get some of the things, is this like, did they give a list on what they wanted, or are you guys just going in to take the belongings that were left, or what will be removed?
We've been in contact with the families, and we know some of the things that that they're needing and wanting, and we're going to do everything we can to get that for them.
My last thing, just wanted to say one more thing, since I'm sure we'll end up talking to the family one more time, and I think just how emotional, and you have a huge heart. I think I can just tell just from sitting with you in the very beginning how much this affects you. So you saying you're a dad, you saying you have kids, is there anything that you'd like to say just specifically to Kaylee's dad? Because I think there's been, a lot there, and it's probably just, it's not directed at you, but just to talk directly to him.
Sorry he has to go through this. It's horrible, and I can't put myself in his shoes. But we care. We do. And we'll do everything we can.
Around 1 a.m., the 2 female roommates who escaped the attack returned home from their night out before the 4 pals. According to authorities, the 4 victims were stabbed to death on the 2nd and 3rd levels of the home between 3 and 4 a.m. with a fixed blade knife. The murder weapon was never found. The surviving roommates summoned friends to the house because they believed one of the 2nd-floor victims had passed out. A call to 911 was placed from one of the surviving roommates' phones at 11:58 a.m., reporting an unconscious person. Police said multiple people spoke to the dispatcher. At 2 p.m. Sunday, the university sent out a vandal alert notifying students of the homicides and telling them to shelter in place. However, the order was lifted an hour later, with police later calling the quadruple homicide an isolated, targeted attack posing no imminent threat to the community at large. Mayor Art Batch initially told a news outlet that the slayings were a crime of passion, but later changed his tune in a statement to Fox News Digital, indicating that no reason had been determined. Investigators were looking into a crime of passion or a burglary gone wrong. According to the mayor, residents of Moscow, students, and victims' families unsurprisingly began to complain about the inadequate and inconsistent information supplied by governmental officials. Chapin's father, Jim Chapin, told Fox News Digital in a statement on November 15th that the family was frustrated by the lack of information from the university and police. The silence further compounds our family's agony after our son's murder, the statement says. For Ethan and his 3 dear friends slain in Moscow, Idaho, and all of our families, I urge officials to speak the truth, share what they know, find the assailant, and protect the greater community. However, during a press conference on Wednesday, November 16th, Moscow Police Chief James Fry revealed for the first time to reporters that there were 2 female roommates at the residence throughout the brutal attack, and they were unharmed. Fry did not identify the 911 caller or explain why the call came in more than 8 hours after the murders. He stated that there were no traces of forced entry. He retracted earlier claims that the incident constituted no ongoing threat to the community. We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still othered there. He said, "We cannot say there is no threat to the community, and as we have stated, please stay vigilant. The FBI and the Idaho State Police are assisting in the investigation." He added, in a press release issued on November 17th, Lada County Coroner Kathy Mabott declared the students' deaths to be homicides. According to Mabott, their cause and manner of death were homicide by stabbing. She said the victims were likely ambushed in their sleep with a really large knife and described the attack as personal in an interview with News Nation. Each of the victims had multiple stab wounds to their torsos. Kaylee Goncalves' parents expressed their dissatisfaction with various aspects of the police inquiry during a series of weekend interviews on December 4th. Kaylee's mother, Christy Goncalves, told News Nation that police were clearing out potential suspects very fast. "I just feel like there have been a couple of individuals that were cleared very fast that maybe should not have been," she said. On December 7th, police said they got tips and leads concerning a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra that was seen near the crime scene in the early morning hours of November 13th. They want to speak with the person or people who were inside the vehicle and have asked the public for any information about it. On December 13th, detectives retrieved 8 hours of security video from a Moscow petrol station where a clerk noticed a white vehicle going by at 3:45 a.m. on the morning of the murders. And now, according to Kaylee's father, Steve Goncalves, the Adam mentioned by the women is not a suspect. We asked and did the obvious due diligence, and we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual was not a part of the investigation as far as a suspect. Steve Goncalves, the father of 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves, said on Says Lawrence Jones Cross Country. Goncalves and Mojin, according to police, left the Corner Club bar at 1:30 a.m. on November 13th and walked to the food truck, where they ordered and then got a ride back to their King Road home. According to police, the driver is also not a suspect in the crime. Cameron and Smith, whose group has over 90,000 members and is actively following the case, released the video, which they claim reveals the young man in the hoodie was with Goncalves and Mojan before appearing in the food truck video. He is one of several persons who have been subjected to internet conjecture about the case, prompting authorities to warn web sleuths on December 9th that online harassment and threats are criminal offenses. We can all scrutinize those couple of minutes at the food truck, but we just have to remember there was an entire evening before this, Cameron told Fox News Digital. There's more than just that one timestamp that we have into that evening. So, while there isn't much to go off for the police still, they continue to search, and hopefully the murderer can be apprehended. This notorious Adam is not yet a part of the investigation. But this newly revealed footage could definitely make a huge difference if just one person is able to connect the dots that we haven't even seen yet. The two victims were talking about him, and they seemed worried about his reaction. That's a telling sign if we've ever seen one. So, what do you think happened? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.